Hi, Church. Pastor Jeff here with another Trinity check-in. Last Sunday, we did something neat in worship, and an email came out even before that. We unveiled our campaign to begin raising funds for a sanctuary and children's space. Now, if you want to really back up, last October, we voted as a church to go ahead with fundraising, even though we knew we'd have to save up for a while before we were actually ready to break ground on a new sanctuary and children's space. And so, for the past few months, we've been putting together a plan to help do that and to raise funds. As we've gone along, we've been involving more and more church members, collecting ideas, collecting the best questions, and it is really coming together beautifully. But last Thursday, an email went out, and last Sunday in worship, we unveiled the first look at what we've been putting together in this project for the church as a whole, and it was exciting to do. We didn't, however, start with all the questions, with numbers. We certainly didn't start with asking for money. I mean, okay, it is fundraising we're doing here, so eventually we'll all sacrifice and throw in what we can in order to help with the project, but it's so important that we not begin there, you see. What we began with this Sunday was our prayer team. Now, if you weren't here, if you didn't join online, this is what it looked like. At each service, we had some of our prayer team members come forward, and we talked about what we're doing, and we said a prayer with them. And now, each member of our prayer team is calling the entire church, one household at a time, calling the church to ask you to pray for our campaign, to pray for God's guidance and where we're heading as a church, and to ask you what you would have us hold it, what you would have them hold in prayer. And they're passing all those prayer requests on to me, by the way. And I have to admit, my email inbox right now is a little bit scary in terms of the number of emails coming in. However, it's heartwarming to hear how these conversations are going, and I appreciate everything I've heard from all of you so far, and I know the calls are only beginning too. Now, let me tell you why we're starting here instead of with asking for money. The reason is because the church isn't a building. Just like a family needs a house, you do have to do things so that you have the space to where you can meet, to where you do the things to make it the most welcoming place possible for us and for everyone to grow. However, a family is not the house, and in the same way, a church is not the building. Neither is it a sanctuary. And so it's important that before we build a sanctuary, we first build the church, and that's you. We build the people. We build the congregation. We always start there, and we let that be the foundation for whatever happens next, aiming for a sanctuary or whatever it may happen to be. And prayer is the way to do that, grounded in God. And so I'm glad that you all are part of it, and I hope that you will indeed keep our campaign in your prayers, especially as we head into the future steps and start rolling out details, and there are going to be so many more questions, I'm sure. Now, if you got the email last week, and I've already heard of people whose email went into their spam folder, or they thought they should get it and they didn't. That always happens. Email is not perfect, and neither is postal mail these days either. So we have a whole system for how we're going to send out various things to everyone. The brochure from last week's email, though, it's also in the email that this video goes out in. So if you got this video by email, click just below and you'll be able to see it there. But if it's easier, we've also printed out a bunch of copies to have around the church. They look like this. They have the labyrinth on there and say our vision and prepare the way, since that's what we're doing, is preparing the way for a sanctuary. What I really hope you'll notice most on it, though, and when you look through it, you'll see some of Trinity's history and story, especially if you're new to the church. It might be neat to read it, and if you've been here a long time, it's a good memory. But I hope you'll look at the back. Now, there's not a lot on the back, but what you see here is the labyrinth, of course, but that's the spot where the sanctuary will one day go. This is the space. This is where it will be. Now, before you ask, don't worry. We're already talking to the architects about how we can incorporate a labyrinth into the new sanctuary and the new facilities, because it's too much a part of the church to miss. But what does it say right above? What does it say in the space where the sanctuary will go? Lord, what do you want to do through me? And I hope that will be part of your prayer for our campaign and for our church and for our future too, because it is so important. Now, you may notice there's not a lot of detail in this brochure. There's another one that we're putting together right now that's going to go out in March. And in fact, the questions that we're getting back from you all as our prayer team does their calls, those questions are going into that brochure. At least they're going to be summarized in a frequently asked questions page. So send your questions, tell them to your prayer person, or send them directly to me, Jeff at trinitylincoln.org. We're also going to put together a video. Joshua Berry, the campaign chair, and I are going to do a Q&A video that we're then going to send out to all of our growth groups and music groups and United Women of Faith. All the different groups are going to have access to that video that they can watch and discuss it, and it's going to be there's going to be information everywhere, questions answered in time. But it all begins with prayer, and I hope that you are participating in that. And let me tell you, it is exciting what we're doing here. It is exciting, and especially in this day and age. You know, with all of the chaos going on in the world right now, with all of the challenges we face, what that is a reminder of why we need this. It's a reminder of why we need the church, a reminder of why we need each other, and why it's so important for it all to begin with prayer. So I hope that you will start there too. All right. Be well, church. Check out the link to the brochure in the email. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see the Connection Point collection list. I hope you'll look at that too and pick something up and bring it to church on Sunday. I know that all of this will be good, and I can't wait to see where it goes, and I can't wait to see you this Sunday. See you soon, church.